What's happening in the public relations agency world today, and it's not a lot different from what's happening in the communications world overall, is that everything is becoming globalized. And managing a global public relations firm, managing any kind of professional service firm on a global basis, presents its own set of challenges, and that's really what I tried to share in the book chapter. What it's like to be managing for your clients on a global basis today. There are plenty of things that happen around Ketchum, and we have 50 offices around the world. There are plenty of things that happen around the agency on an everyday basis. I think one of the things that I'm most proud of, and probably one of the most active areas of the business, is what we're doing for our clients in terms of helping them think creatively on a global basis, on a global platform, think creatively without boundaries, and bring work to them and bring ideas to them to kind of smash boundaries and bring ideas that will work across boundaries and around the world. We developed about, I would say 18 months, 2 years ago, we developed a tool called Mindfire. And that was highlighted in the chapter. I guess when the chapter was being developed, it still was, Mindfire was something we had just introduced. And Mindfire is a creative platform. We have 40 schools around the world where we ask students to weigh in on actual client creative problems and challenges that we're working on. And we have hundreds and hundreds of ideas that students around the world have contributed to. And what's interesting to me about it is that an idea can begin, like, for example, in Spain, get built on in China, and then return to the States, or an idea can be started in Brazil and then move to London and be built on in Germany. But these truly are ideas that bring a broad creative perspective and global perspective to client work and client thinking and client ideas. So that is something, and I encourage actually all of Clark's students to seek out Mindfire. It's a great tool, and it's something that's really made a big difference for our clients and the work that we're putting in front of them and the work we're executing for them. Yeah, I would say that probably one of the most important attributes of a public relations, of a successful public relations person today, has got to be somebody who is uncommonly curious, somebody who just is almost has an insatiable appetite for information. And of course, the media world today is such a rich and broad and different place than it was even 5 or 10 or 15 or 20 years ago. It changes very, very fast. You've got to be somebody who just consumes information and consumes media, and somebody who just soaks it all in and is able then to take that and synthesize it and apply it to either the organization you're working for or the clients that you're working for. You know, what's happening today is that we're going through a globalization on a broad scale. We're going through digital and media transformation on a broad scale, and we're also going through profound cultural and social changes on a broad scale, and perhaps all being driven by the cultural, and those cultural and social changes are perhaps being driven by the media changes, the digital changes, the social media changes, and the global changes that are going on around the world. And that's just going to continue. I think that we're going to continue to see those continuing to drive what the world looks like. So I think that as we look forward, we're looking at a world that's going to be moving at hyperspeed. We're going to see a world where what happens in one place around the world becomes news instantly every other place around the world. I think you're seeing a new media model be put in place, which is still being constructed. You know, the old kind of top-down media model is pretty much gone. Everybody today has the opportunity to weigh in and to have their voices heard, whether you're an individual, whether you're an institution, or whether you're the traditional media. So all these things, the globalization, the transformation in media, and these profound cultural and social changes that are taking place are moving at a pace and in a way that we're just beginning to see and beginning to understand. It's just going to continue moving in that direction with I think a more intense, with greater intensity and velocity than we've ever seen. I think that in any enterprise today, and it doesn't matter whether it's a public relations firm that we're talking about, or whether we're talking about a professional service firm, or almost any enterprise when you're managing on a global basis today. It really is about, I think a successful organization today has to understand the profound impact of technology, whether you're in the media business or the public relations business or not. I think you need to be able to understand and to manage across the organization. Organizations today have to be integrated, and your customers are looking for you to be thinking on a broad basis, and your employees, the people who work in the firm who are delivering products or services to the customers, need to be able to think on an integrated and a broadly global basis as well. The other thing that I think that's important too is transparency. Today is that every organization is what happens on the inside of an organization can instantaneously become news and information that becomes accessible outside of an organization. And companies today need to be able to do what they say and say what they do. And there's no line any longer between the inside of an organization and the outside of an organization. And you have to behave on the inside as you want to be perceived externally by an organization.